Greetings, everybody. Welcome. So lovely to have you here in this virtual space together, to see all your lovely faces, and welcome to those that are still coming in. So this is our monthly gathering with the Dharmagiri team, where we just take an opportunity once a month just to come together and to reinvigorate our practice and reinvigorate that feeling of community and Sangha. Some of us are isolated, some of us don't have a physical Sangha where we are. So it's such a great opportunity to be able to sit with like-minded people and have an opportunity just to breathe and come back to center. So today we have the lovely Sue Cooper here to facilitate with us. Sue is a member of Dharmagiri and has been for many years, and is family, more like family to Dharmagiri. She met Kitisara and Tanisara many, many moons ago. And she's I'm sure as many of you know here, she's a clinical psychologist who's also been a meditative practitioner for 40 plus years, and has a great and a deep practice which translates so easily and is palpable in her presence. You can really feel it. I've had the privilege of sitting in on some of her Dharma talks, and the first one that I sat in, and I actually cried. It just cuts so deep and so quick, and she creates a beautiful container. So it's such a joy and such a privilege to have you here, Sue. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pumla. What a lovely welcome. And so lovely to be here with Neil and Pumla from Dharmagiri, where I will be going at the end of the month for a 7-day retreat that I'm hoping some of you might even join me at. I'm just going to give another moment. I know that some people are still logging in. So lovely to see Marlene and Louise and all those who are part of our extended and shared Sangha. Welcome to everybody. People from the Northern Hemisphere, Mary, so great that the time was in your favor this time. Sorry, Pumla, you wanted to say something.
No, I was going to say, while we wait, maybe I introduce the Dharmagiri team as well.
Please.
Yeah. So we have Neil, who is an incredible part of our team. He lives on site with us. On site is myself, Neil, and Nombido, who's not online, and Maya as well, who's not online. She usually is online, but she's had a family responsibility to attend to, so she's not here with us today. And Marlene is also part of our team. She's a bookkeeper, but she doesn't live on site, just visits when she can and keeps us on the straight and narrow. We're very grateful for her.
Thank you, Pumla. And just such a warm welcome to all these lovely people. Some of you I've met, some of you I haven't yet met. And so it's lovely to see some familiar and unfamiliar faces. So I think that what I would like us to do is just to begin with a few moments of silence before I give a short talk, just to really help us arrive and land. And so let's just gently close our eyes. Just taking some breaths and landing in this moment, in this shared space. And I invite you to imagine the most incredible sacred mountain. For those of us who've had the blessing of sitting at the foot of that mountain, we can conjure up the image, I'm sure, very quickly. And for those of you who perhaps haven't been to this actual mountain, you can imagine a beautiful sacred mountain. And allow your body to feel like it is sitting just like a mountain, rooted and anchored on the earth, supported by all the elements, Mother, Grandmother Earth, represented by this beautiful mountain, the air, the water, the fire elements, all around. And imagine the spaciousness above and the deep connection with the earth below. If you can make sure you're all muted, please. And so I hope that just those few moments of visualizing, sitting at the foot of this beautiful sacred mountain, just gave you a little taste of spaciousness, of groundedness, of connection. I've been incredibly blessed to have spent many, many, many moons at the foot of Dharmagiri, Mvuleni Bamboo Sacred Mountain, on retreat, sitting as a retreatant for many, many years, and then, much to my surprise, sitting as a teacher, running retreats at the foot of the mountain. And it always feels like a particular privilege hosting a retreat there, because one has the palpable feeling of lineage, of being part of something very ancient and very sacred. And that comes partly from the presence of the mountain, which is right there. One literally is sitting on the mountain at the foot of it. And one has this teacher on site in the mountain through the changeable nature of the weather. Those of you who are familiar with KwaZulu-Natal rural areas and mountainous areas will know that the mist is a constant visitor coming and going. And so at times one can arrive and the mountain will be invisible behind a thick cloud of mist. And then when the mist rises, there is this incredible presence of this exquisite mountain that within minutes one can walk up onto, looking in all directions with a sense of such spaciousness and perspective. And so that presence of the mountain itself gives one a sense of being part of something very huge and enduring. It feels like with all the changes, with all the little dramas, the comings and the goings, the mountain remains. And then there's the lineage of the Buddhist tradition that Kittisaro and Thanissaro were part of, the Thai forest tradition, the presence of Ajahn Chah's smiling face, the presence of the Buddha and Kuan Yin. And the presence of the Buddha and Kuan Yin in particular really give one a sense of being part of a journey that so many people have walked, a very ancient, well-trodden path through suffering towards ease and freedom. And in my early years of sitting at the foot of that mountain, so many tears were shed. So much suffering was grappled with. And it was really my introduction to the teachings of Kuan Yin that is so particular to Thanissaro and Kittisaro's contribution to the Dharma, where they have really infused an insight meditation, Theravadan tradition with these compassionate teachings of Kuan Yin, the one who listens to the cries of the world at ease. And it was my meeting of Kuan Yin, who in many ways is an archetypal mother figure within this tradition, that was so life-changing for me. I was already steeped in psychological wisdom and understanding and practices when I first met Kuan Yin. And of course, her gift of listening to the cries of the world at ease immediately captured my attention. Because most healing traditions have this art of listening as part of their foundation. One cannot be involved with healing if one hasn't really learned the art of compassionate listening. Within the psychological Western model, there is increasingly an understanding of the need to internalize a kind and compassionate voice to counter the viciousness of our inner critic. And we seem in the West to have such a relentlessly vicious inner critic, that superego, that voice that constantly tells us we're not good enough, we're lacking, we need to be different or more or other. And so to have an image of this mothering figure, a female Buddha figure of Kuan Yin, who listened to the cries at ease, was deeply comforting and inspiring for me. Kuan Yin listens like the archetypal good enough mother without fear or judgment. She meets and invites suffering into her presence so that one doesn't feel so alone. And part of what is so powerful about sitting together in this way, even on this online Sangha, is that this is a reminder that we are not alone. So much of our despair comes from feeling that, first of all, there is something wrong with us, And secondly, that we are very alone in our struggle. And so the discovery that our suffering is shared, that it is part of our human experience, and that we don't have to carry it alone in itself, is deeply healing and transformative. It was really on the mountain, the bamboo Mveleni mountain, sacred mountain of Dharmagiri, that I developed the deepest understanding of the transformative potential of metta meditation. Metta being a practice of compassion that is built on the foundation of loving kindness. The first of the Brahma Viharas, the divine abodes, those qualities of heart that lead to healing and awakening. And it was on the mountain where I became aware of how much of our suffering is self-inflicted. How much we are caught by those extra arrows of pain, remembering that the first arrow is inevitable, that there is pain and suffering in our existence, that is something we all share. Just the existential pain of having a body, a heart, and a mind, all subject to impermanence. That package, body, heart, and mind, subject to impermanence, creates a suffering that is inevitable. The suffering that isn't inevitable is how we respond to that pain of the first arrow. What do we make of it? What are the narratives that we create around our particular personal pain? What are the stories and self-limiting beliefs that become deeply internalized and entrenched, that create these extra arrows of avoidable suffering? It's not easy to avoid that pain, but it's possible. And I was on the mountain aware of how much my thinking, my self-critical thinking, my judgmental thinking, my habitual thinking was perpetuating levels of suffering that I understood I could be free of if I could learn to change my relationship to those thoughts. It was a powerful moment of awareness, and it was significant to me that it happened on that mountain, a mountain where for many years, whenever I walked on it, I would come upon rocks in the shape of Kuan Yin. And it was as though for me that mountain was the messenger of Kuan Yin in my own life, reminding me that all this heaviness that I was carrying could dissolve and shift if I learnt to become more self-compassionate. And so metta meditation remains the focus of my own practice and the focus of my own teachings, because for me it is the heart of mindfulness. Mindfulness for me comes alive when you infuse it with metta, because we can be aware, one can be very aware and very present and very uncompassionate in one's awareness. Awareness alone, in my view, is not enough for healing and for transformation. It is only that infusion of compassion, deep compassion and open-heartedness that transforms our mindfulness into something that will shift what is fundamentally perpetuating our suffering. And so I would like to invite you now to join me in a metta meditation where we align ourselves with this possibility of becoming our own Kuan Yin archetypal mother figure, listening to our own cries as well as the cries of the world at ease, with compassion, with patience, with forgiveness, and really forgiving ourselves for our humanness and all the imperfection that we associate with that. And so please choose a posture now where you can be comfortable. If you need an extra cushion or a blanket, if you need to lie down, please listen to your body and very gently settle into some stillness, closing your eyes. And take a few deep breaths, just allowing your body to soften as we settle. Softening from the crown of the head downwards, as though you are massaging your body with very gentle awareness. Relaxing your jawbone, dropping the shoulders, softening into the belly. And then down the arms to the hands and the fingers, down the torso, down the legs to the feet and the toes. As you soften, begin to notice where there is bracing and tightening, contracting, which we do around pain, around fear, around uncertainty. You might like to place a hand on the heart and on the belly, just creating a gesture of an embrace to help with the sense of being held by a very warm, loving embrace of awareness. It's also very soothing for the nervous system to feel that physical touch. The touch that is a reminder that you are not alone if you can be with yourself in this way. A hand on the heart also allows you to gently open your heart to whatever you are experiencing right now. Meeting that experience with metta. Boundless loving kindness. Trusting the heart's capacity to receive whatever is there without judgment and without self-abandonment. Remembering that the most damaging abandonment is self-abandonment. And so with metta meditation, we are befriending ourselves, reconnecting with ourselves. Take a moment to notice what parts of your body and your physical experience is difficult to befriend. And breathe in deeply again, so that with the out breath you can consciously soften and instead of resenting the body's vulnerability, allow yourself to befriend the body's vulnerability. Imagining that you are bringing metta to the whole of your being, your body, your heart and your mind, through the support of the elements. And so as you sit like a mountain, feel that support of the earth and become aware that you are resting on a firm foundation of metta. Perhaps you feel the air on your skin and imagine that there is a gentle breeze of metta just blowing through you. Blowing away all the old narratives of shame and self-blame. Bringing love and kindness and compassion into your awareness. You might feel there are blockages to being kind to yourself. So now imagine a gentle river of metta flowing through you, dissolving any obstructions to a feeling of ease and well-being and safety. A river of metta flowing freely, washing over you gently. Turning to the fire element now, imagine a warm glow of metta within you. A glow of metta warming and soothing whatever is needing comfort and reminding that you are not alone and that you are worthy and deserving of ease and of joy. Again, with the hand on the heart, if that feels helpful. You might like to say the words out loud to yourself. I am safe and held and loved. Just in this moment, I am safe and held and loved. I am enough. Becoming your own good enough archetypal mother-father figure. Receiving the whole of yourself into this loving embrace of metta. holding the voice of the inner critic lightly, knowing that those thoughts are not truths. Allow them to be like clouds dissolving at the top of the mountain, revealing what is real and true. Bringing kindness to what is so habitual and repetitive. All those patterns that torment us at times, just receiving them very compassionately. Choose an image of yourself now for this offering of metta that allows you to be gentle and a little more generous towards yourself. It might be an image of yourself when you were younger, a little version that might be right in this moment. And wish yourself well. Again, saying the words out loud if you would like to. May I be well and at ease. May I be peaceful and calm. May I be free of fear. Free of shame and self-doubt. May I rest in an embrace of metta. Become aware of your embodied, heartfelt presence after bringing some kindness consciously into your awareness. And return to that warm glow of metta in your own heart. And imagine radiating that warmth in all directions now, to each other, to all those in your life, and to all beings, near and far. May we all feel held by the soothing balm of metta and compassion. Thank you so much for being here together in our shared embrace of metta. It really felt like we were sitting together at the foot of this beautiful mountain. I'm going to hand over to Pumla now.
Thank you so much, Sue, for allowing us to bathe in that beautiful, warm embrace of metta, loving kindness, unconditional love. Thank you for giving us the space just to reframe and reconnect to ourselves and befriend ourselves once again. What a joy, what a gift in the middle of the ever busy day, week, month, year that we all seem to have. So thank you for giving us a little bit of tenderness. So we have opportunity now for anyone that would like to share, anyone that has any questions for Sue, any comments, anyone who would like to allow words to rise up in them and allow themselves to be vulnerable and gift their sharing to the group, please feel free to.
Thank you, Pumla. So just feel free to unmute yourself. Maybe say where you're logging in from, because I know there are people from all over Northern and Southern Hemisphere. Mary, do I see you leaning forward?
Yeah, hi, this is Mary. I'm in Seattle, Washington in the United States. It's lovely to be here and share this with you. I've been knowing Sue and visiting. When I visit Cape Town, I'm blessed to be able to join her Sangha and then still benefit from her daily meditations and such. But this is really, truly a wonderful opportunity to have my time line up with your time. So this is great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mary, and so lovely to know that you are retaining your connection to Africa. Even though you're so far away, it feels like a part of your heart is still here with us. And so it's such a blessing to see you here. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us. Who would like to go next?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm
I can't see you, but I can
yeah.
hear you.
Sorry, we're outside and it's load shedding. But I just want to say although technically my mom invited me here, still thank you for creating the session for everyone included. It regardless of the topic, these sessions always have a way of putting the more restless part of me into a more calm state.
Thank you so much. Can you say your name and where you're logging in from, please?
This is Adamo and Deborah Gardelli from logging in from South Africa, Johannesburg.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I think there's nothing like shared practice to kind of calm our chaotic, fragmented minds. So you're not alone with the restlessness. Thank you so much for joining us. Who would like to go next?
Good evening, Sue.
Hi.
Thank you for such an amazing little session. You've really brought a lot of closure, as the group of Dharmagiri normally do, with all their monthly meditation sessions. And I'm glad to see that a lot more people are logging in to be with us. And yeah, just share the experience. You know, we all tend to be caught up in this busy world, and just thank you to everyone that's just taken the little bit of time out of their busy days, their lives, their time of work. I know a lot of people are obviously stressed financially, but still take the time out to join. And just your whole meditation thing about the different elements was so beautiful, and I am really grateful for everything that you've shared with me tonight. And I hope to hear from you again. And yeah, you've brought a lot of joy just by this one evening of just sharing. And yeah, I can obviously say my cup has been full tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chad. And where are you logging in from?
I'm logging in from Giant's Castle.
Okay, so round the corner,
Yes.
as it were.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so
That's,
much. Really lovely
yeah,
to meet you here.
thank you very much.
Who would like to go next? Moira, I see your hand.
Hi, Sue. Hi, hello, everyone. So I'm Moira. I'm logging in from Johannesburg. Luckily, load shedding's over. Sue, yes, likewise, I echo the gratitude and really to the people on the ground at Dharmagiri, Neil and Pumla, for taking this initiative. Really, thank you for that. And something occurred to me, about the Kuan Yin Dharmas. I always, when I hear that Kuan Yin listens at ease to the sounds of the world, my inner teenager sometimes think, well, she didn't live in this world. Well, it's really difficult to notice the suffering in the world everywhere, Ukraine, the traffic lights in Joburg, and I wonder about this listening at ease to the sounds of the world. And then during your meditation, it occurred to me that in a way there's something about listening at ease to the sounds of one's own, even just discomfort, or listening at ease. And there's even as Chad so sweetly enunciated, that kind of joy cup runneth over, and just noticing that ease, that listening to one's own suffering, made that a verse from Kuan Yin not sound quite so far-fetched. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Moira. Thank you. And a lot of people have raised a sense of resistance almost, or as you shared, a kind of disbelief at the possibility of listening at ease. And I've wondered sometimes about the translation into English, but I think for me, the listening at ease is listening with a fearless willingness. So it doesn't mean I'm completely relaxed with the suffering, but I listen with an open-hearted willingness to try to soften in the presence of the suffering, whether it's my own suffering or the suffering of others, because I know from experience that listening with resentment, with anger, with bitterness, with fear,
or sadness, or terrible sadness.
Oh, yes. And so there may be sorrow, of course, in the listening, but it's the willingness to listen to the suffering that for me is captured by that sense of at ease. And I always think of the beautiful image of Kuan Yin, where, often it's a very relaxed but strong pose. And so it has a courage to the listening. It has a willingness, there's a willing quality. And it doesn't mean it isn't painful to listen. And I think sometimes maybe we mistake ease with comfort. I don't think they're the same thing. And so I think listening with ease for me is an invitation to be spacious and courageous in the listening. And that's really been a very helpful kind of quality to bring into my own metta practice. So thank you. I don't know if Moira's disappeared.
I think she has, but I'd also, in her absentia, like to introduce her as part of it. Moira.
I am here.
Hi, Moira, are you back? Okay. So just...
Moira, sorry, Sue.
No, carry on, Pumla.
I was saying that Moira is one of the directors of the Dharmagiri team, and we're very, very grateful for her presence on the team and her presence on this call, and her ever gracious support. So I didn't get to introduce you in the beginning, Moira.
Thank you, Pamela.
Thanks.
Thank you, Moira, and thank you for being here tonight too. Nikki. Oh, I don't know what happened to Nikki. She was here and she disappeared.
I think
Oh,
she
there we
just
are. Hi, Nikki.
There. Hi, Sue. Hi, everyone. Just two things, Sue. Well, three things. First of all, thank you so much. This is wonderful. I've made it all ceremonial by lighting a fire, so thank you. Second thing, I noticed for the first time after many, many years that the word soothing actually has your name in it. Did anyone else notice that? You lengthened the soothing tonight more than usual, and I went, of course she's soothing. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Nikki.
And then, Sue, I've been sitting with this term coined by Tara Brach, radical acceptance. And I was thinking about it when listening to Moira's question, and also my resistance to the idea of Kuan Yin's ability to listen to the cries of the world with ease. And I was grappling with it a little bit until I remembered something that I read on Monday when I was talking to a corporate client of mine. And it said something about the wise mind. I don't know if it's a Buddhist term, but it was saying that if we can find a place of acceptance where we aren't overly logical or overly emotional, that can be a very sturdy, accurate place from which to take action should action be needed. I don't know if the radical acceptance teachings play into this idea of Kuan Yin, and I was just curious about your thoughts on that.
Thank you. Well, I think, Kuan Yin has this incredibly welcoming presence, welcoming whatever suffering is there. And so, of course, there is that element of radical acceptance in being with how it is. And so I think it definitely is a quality of that heart, and a quality of what I would call the wise heart. So the wise heart is one that is welcoming of how things are. And that's what often can lead us to find the courage and the strength to be with things in a way that is accepting. I think acceptance is a tricky term because it's quite charged with associations. And so I find sometimes it's easier to get to that quality of heart with different language, personally. But thank you so much, Nikki. It feels like an interesting conversation to pursue. I am aware of the time. I don't know if you want to open it for one more person. It is 1 minute past 7 on my clock. Do we have time for one more person, Pamela?
Also do. Anyone that needs to log off, of course, can log off, and we appreciate your presence. But we definitely have time for one more. And while we perhaps wait for that one person, I'd like to add that Sue is, okay, thanks, Carla. I'd like to add that Sue is actually hosting a retreat at Dharmagiri 30th of September. So, and there's just a few spaces left, and of course, you're welcome to book. And also, we do these gatherings as a way of a very gentle way of fundraising for Dharmagiri in order to be able to sustain the center and to be able to keep a community going. And if you would love to share some sort of generosity with us, Adana sharing for this, Neil is going to quickly paste the banking details on the chat. If you'd like to give us any type of support, we'd really appreciate it. But your support is already felt by just being here, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll hand it over to Carla.
Yes.
Thanks, Pamela. I'm going to keep it short, but it was interesting. I wasn't planning to come to this, but I remember the first time I was ever introduced to meditation was, and I still find it I have the Insight Timer app, and I still find it every now and again, just for old time's sake. It was called the Mountain Meditation. And I'm from KZN. I'm currently in Glenwood in Durban, but Dharmagiri is somewhere that I've always wanted to go. I've had the privilege of being at the BRC with Sue on a number of occasions. But there was just something about Sue and the mountain and Dharmagiri, and I just thought, okay, it's clearly meant to be. I can't keep looking for other signs here. But I've been I've felt incredible resistance to just kind of reigniting my practice, and I feel like the more resistance I've been and the longer I've taken, the more resistance builds up as it does. But just incredibly grateful for just the session, Sue, and for Dharmagiri for having these. I'd love to come to more, and I'd love to come to Dharmagiri at some point. And Sue, there was one thing that really stood out to me this evening, and so the last thing that I'll say is that the meta kind of, I always I call it the metaverse, or whatever it is that you change up, was very short and simple this evening. And I really loved that, because I started attaching myself to words. And I remember the ones I wrote myself a meta, and it was like almost a page long. I thought, how am I ever going to remember this without having to read it to myself each time? But this, I thought to myself, this I can do. This is great. It kind of succinctly holds everything that I would like to think of when I do my meta practice. So personally, I'd really appreciate it if you'd share that with me, exactly what the meta was this evening, because it was just one that really stuck with me, and the simplicity of it was just really beautiful, and manageable. I'm in a phase of trying to simplify my life a lot, so that felt very aligned to that. So thank you, and thank you for everyone for sharing this session this evening. I really felt the community even through the screen, so thank you.
Thank you, Carla. And how lovely that the mountain called you back to your practice. We can always rely on the mountain to do that. I have put my cell number on the screen, and I will share on my broadcast list the version that I shared, which was really just the first few lines. May I be well and at ease. May I be peaceful and calm. May I be free of fear, shame, and self-doubt. May I rest in an embrace of metta. For those of you who would like to join my daily broadcast list, it's a free offering of daily meditations and poems. All you need to do is WhatsApp me, and I will add you, and just save my name with my number. And I will be starting my next 10-day recommitment to meditation practice on Friday this week. And I think we have to end. Nombuso, are you sharing something just before we finish off? Thank you, Carla. Lovely to see you. Nombuso, welcome.
Okay, I was talking and it's muted. Hey, good to see your face. I just wanted to say I'm Nombuso. By the way, I'm here in South Coast, Hebertine, of what is it, KZN, South Coast. However, I'm originally from South Africa, even though I don't sound like it. But I'm here, recently relocated from Compton, California. And my very, very first retreat was with Soothing Sue. So it's such a pleasure to be here. And what a special meditation. And it was such a treat. And I'm looking forward to reuniting with you at the place we first met at the end of the month. And I just feel like this tonight was such a special, like, you know, incentive / confirmation. You're going to be on that mountain in a few weeks. Like, it's a must that you reunite with my first teacher. So I'm just really filled with warmth and just joy. And this transitioning back to South Africa, mind you, I left when I was 1. So like, even though it's home, it's not really home when you leave and when you're raised in a different country your whole life. So it's been rough, to say the least. It's been rough. Load shedding and water issues and all of that. So, but I just wanted to say, what a treat. What a treat. And you're a whole vibe, Sue.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we always say the path is not linear, it's a spiral. And so sometimes we return to the beginning of the journey. So I think we need to end off. So maybe we can just close with a moment of silence again. Are we comfortable with that, Pumla and Neil? I would love us just to end off with just coming back into the shared silence. And just feeling what is in your heart right now. The appreciative joy for this time shared together. For being part of this beautiful Dharmagiri sacred mountain Sangha. Deep bows of gratitude. Thank you to you all. Thank you all. Until next month, the first Wednesday of next month, there will be a Sangha once again, and Dharmagiri will send out notification. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, everybody. And next month, we have Lucy Draper-Clark gracing us with the presence and the teaching. So we look forward to seeing you all. Thank you so much, Sue. What a gift you are.
Bye all.